Well, Microsoft has released their new Microsoft Flight Simulator. And every time this happens in my life, I start focusing on how to get the very best performance out of Windows. So it's the Windows 10 edition right now. And in this series of videos, we'll go step by step on ways to make sure you're running as high performance as possible. How is your Windows 10 going to be as speedy as possible? And as you'll see throughout these videos, there's a lot of little things that we can do that'll all add up to great performance. In this first video, we're going to focus on one of the big ones, and that is running applications. Applications that are set to start at launch and that will be running. Now, one of the things I like to do, you can see the icons for stuff that is running, and notice they're hidden under this little, graphical user interface component. So one of the things that I like to do right away on my system is I like to go into the taskbar settings, and I say under here, you can select which icons appear, and you can say always show all icons. So that's going to be great. That way I can see at a glance anything that may be running on this Windows system. So that's the first tip in this area. The second and much bigger tip is we're going to go in to the settings and we're going to go to apps, because there is a startup option in here. So this is showing me everything that is starting and running in the background there on this system. And notice some of these could have a real high impact on performance. And inevitably, what you'll often find in here is you've got things running that you don't even want. So notice I'm going to turn off this Foxit Reader Speed Launcher, and then I'm going to go over to Apps and Features. And not only am I going to turn that off, but I'm going to uninstall this product because it's not something that I want or need. It was actually something I was using in a Microsoft Intune demonstration and deployed that app out using the Intune software, and sure enough, forgot to clean it up. So we are getting rid of that application altogether, and this often is something that we'll end up being able to do on our system based on the analysis of what's going on at startup. And you can see that worked beautifully. Not only did I turn it off, but once removing the product, it cleaned it up from this list of startup applications. So be sure to come in here and clean this up as far as things that you don't want launching with your Windows 10. The other thing to be aware of, and this is our third tip in this area, is if you go to the home here under settings and you go over to privacy of all places, notice in here you can indicate what apps are permitted to be operating in the background. So the startup app list that we saw is those applications that are going to launch when Windows starts. But this category is slightly different. These are applications that when we close them, they're going to continue to run in the background. So you can come in and you can trim these off as well. And that should help you. You'll often find that there's apps in here that you never use anyways. For instance, the weather. I do not use Windows 10 for my weather updates. So the last thing I would ever want to happen is if I inadvertently open weather or just open weather once real quick to check things, I don't want that weather app running in the background. The reason why Microsoft does this is they want weather running in the background so that it can be updated so that anytime you go to the app, it's showing you the accurate weather. But this could consume valuable resources, and it really could slow things down, especially if we're doing a lot of this. So in this first episode, we talked all about apps, and we saw how we can display all of the running apps in the taskbar. We saw how we can stop apps from launching at startup, And we even ended up removing an app we don't need. That's always great. And then we saw how there are certain Windows 10 apps that can be set to operate in the background when you close them, and we saw how to control that. Cleaning up these types of things are really going to help us get the performance out of our Windows 10 system that we desire. But this is just one area of tips of many that we'll be sharing here at the home of Anthony Sequeira on YouTube.